Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar for the new Cambridge Commerce Transformed. Thank you all for joining. My name is Caroline Poole and I am the New South Wales State Sales Manager based here in Sydney. Before we get started, in the spirit of reconciliation, Cambridge University Press and Assessment acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. Today we have a great webinar in store for you all to showcase the brand new Commerce Transformed. I am sure you will enjoy today's presentations and gain some useful information in preparation for this exciting new syllabus. To kick off our session today, you will hear from our commerce publisher here at Cambridge, Paula Kelly, to launch the new resources and introduce the authors joining today. Following Paula, our lead author, Rosette Kerr, will be presenting on the new commerce syllabus and what Cambridge has to offer to address changes. Amber Marr, our literacy consultant, will then be sharing information on the writing focus resources and what Cambridge has done to support teachers and students in preparation for these new syllabus requirements. There will then be a short video demonstrating the interactive platform, followed by a Q&A with Rosette, Amber and Paula. And then I will share all the details of the availability of the text and the sales team. So please feel free to submit any questions during the webinar and we will try to get to all of them. But if we do run out of time, we will get back to you after today. So with that, we will now get started. Thank you.
Thanks, Caroline. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. It's great to have you with us. My name's Paula Kelly, and I'm the publisher of Commerce Transformed. Some of you may have joined us last week for the History and Geography Transformed webinar. And today I'm really proud to introduce Commerce Transformed to you. The New South Wales Transformed series is built around 4 key pillars: knowledge-rich content, embedded skills development, strong writing instruction, and a supportive digital platform. Together, these are designed to help you deliver the new syllabus confidently in your classroom. As you know, the New South Wales curriculum reform brings clearer expectations about what students need to know and be able to do, along with a stronger focus on explicit teaching and meaningful skill development. Commerce Transformed has been developed specifically for the new commerce syllabus, with an explicit focus on knowledge, skills, and writing. It's been built from the ground up to support practical classroom implementation, integrating these elements in a clear and structured way. Commerce Transformed has been written by an expert author team of practicing commerce teachers with a broad range of classroom, syllabus and assessment expertise. Their combined experience has shaped the resource, ensuring that it's not only aligned to the syllabus, but practical and easy to use in every lesson. Today, our 2 presenters will take you inside the resource for an overview of what this team has created. Our lead author, Rosette Kerr, will walk you through the syllabus changes, the approach underpinning the resource, and how it brings together knowledge, skills, writing, and real-world learning in practice. Rosette is also an enthusiastic advocate of project-based learning, and we'll show you how we've embedded this approach in the resource and supported you with teaching plans and templates to apply it in your classroom. Rosette is a highly experienced commerce and business educator with a background that includes HSC marking, research, and corporate roles, who is passionate about education in financial literacy and entrepreneurship. She's the current Vice President of Economics and Business Educators New South Wales and serves in a national role in financial education, while also contributing to teacher education at the University of New South Wales. Following Rosette's presentation, our literacy specialist, Amber Marr, will discuss the writing focus program she has developed for Commerce Transformed and explain how this supports the syllabus requirement to create written texts. Amber is the head teacher HISI at a high-performing public high school, specialising in legal studies. She's an active member of the Rule of Law's leadership group for HISI and legal studies teachers, and an experienced conference presenter. Amber is passionate about embedding literacy across the HISI faculty and developing students' ability to write sophisticated, thoughtful responses. So, without further delay, I'm pleased to welcome Rosette.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're really excited to share our new Commerce Transformed resource. It really has been a labour of love, and we're so excited that you're here to learn about it so that you can take it back to your classrooms and really reap the benefits of our hard work and experience. So we'll get started. I'd like to introduce to you our writing team. So myself as the lead author, we've got Kate Daly, Dr. Wendy Muckler-Giles, Tom Spencer, and Tanya White. You might recognise some of our faces because all of us at some point have been Directors of Economics and Business Educators New South Wales. And for a few of us, we've been involved in the development of the curriculum. So it was really exciting to be able to use that curriculum and further develop it and really capture the essence of what the new curriculum reform is all about. So to give you some background on the New South Wales Reformed Syllabus for Commerce, it continues to highlight the development of knowledge and understanding of consumer, financial, economics, business, legal, political, and work concepts and issues. So that remains the same. However, the structure is definitely different, and the reason being is that teachers are experts and the context of learners is always different depending on the school and you know what's important to them. So this curriculum reform actually frees up the curriculum a bit so that teachers can go deeper, and we've really taken that into mind in the development of this resource. But to give you some understanding, the new commerce curriculum has 5 core focus areas, so different to the last one that had only 4. We've got 9 option topics. It can be taught over 2 years as a 200-hour course or as a 100-hour course over the 1 year. And it can be taught over stage 4 and stage 5. So that continues to be the same. So to give you some background on the new reform syllabus for commerce, it still has the concepts and skills. So concepts meaning the content areas. The skills are embedded around learning those concepts. So we've tried as much as possible to ensure that students are able to grow their understanding of commerce by applying those skill elements. You'll also notice that we've included a case study / site study for each and every one of the chapters. So whether you're in a rural area and find it very hard to be able to take your students on an excursion, you'll be able to still be able to fulfill that requirement as part of the commerce syllabus. Another requirement we've tried to fulfill as much as possible in our development of this resource is the creating written text element. So what we've tried to do is embed as many literacy opportunities within the text. So you'll hear from Amber Ma a little bit later about what we've done in terms of literacy approaches. So really trying to fulfill the requirements of the curriculum reform and give justice to this new syllabus. This is the element that I'm most excited for. So having been a teacher for many years in the commerce classroom, I've taught many topics over the years using a project-based learning approach. And what this new curriculum allows you to do is to go deeper with less timing restrictions and to basically focus less on syllabus dot points and more about, you know, fulfilling the needs of students in terms of learning and development and skill. So what we've done is create a project-based learning opportunity, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go on. but really the new curriculum lends itself so beautifully to having a PBL within the classroom as part of the learning unit. So with this resource, we've gone above and beyond, and we've basically created every resource that you could possibly need to be able to teach from day one in 2027 without having to spend hours in terms of planning. So we've developed sample scopes and sequences that you can modify really, really easily and use without having to spend hours planning. Of course, we've also provided the teaching programs, which are beautifully formatted with all of the activities that we have within the textbook, but they go beyond that, and there's a lot of activities as well. If you want to add extra things, you can very easily as well. So they are downloadable Word documents. All you need to do is type whatever you would like to add, but they are quite full programs and are very, very easy to use without any modification whatsoever. You'll notice that at the beginning of each chapter, there's a lesson sequence page, and it outlines all the lessons that a student is going to work through as the unit unfolds. There's also, of course, videos attached to each one. So students are well informed from the beginning what they're likely to see in the unit, which is fantastic. It allows them to own their learning a bit. Really important feature of the text is the setting the scene option at the beginning of each chapter. And you'll see in chapter 1, for example, we have the lovely Effie Zahos, who shared with us a beautiful interview to hook our students in and get them exciting for what's likely to come. There's also a short video with a QR code that students can watch in the classroom, or maybe the teacher wants to share it at the beginning of each unit, that gives a really good overview of what to expect as part of the learning unit. Of course, one of the requirements of the new syllabus is to embed First Nations perspectives, and we've done that for you. So you'll notice throughout the text that you'll find lots of different case studies and learning associated with First Nations people, with a diversity of different experiences and thoughts, different communities and perspectives, and it really makes it very easy for educators to pick it up and start teaching. Within each lesson, we have learning intentions and success criteria organised into each one of the lessons so that it's nice and easy for the teacher to just begin teaching and students are able to see it clearly in front of them. And of course, each one of the lessons has a starter activity. So while the teacher's marking the roll or attending to other matters, students are able to jump straight into the learning and do the starter activity, which leads into the lesson. So a lot of time saving and helpful elements as part of this resource. Another great feature of this resource is the inclusion of terminology throughout, which are clearly explained in a simple way so that students understand the content really well and are able to use it in the proper context. Of course, the NSW verbs are used in the questioning, so you'll notice at the end of each unit or each lesson, there's questions that students need to do, and they all use the NSW verbs, which is fantastic for really developing their skill in being able to answer questions properly before they reach year 11 and year 12. And I know if you've ever been a HSC teacher, a lot of the groundwork for the HSC in terms of understanding directives happens in the lower years. So we make it really easy for you. Of course, at the end of each lesson, there's questions and learning activities, and we've grouped them according to knowledge and understanding questions. So these ones are really recapping on their knowledge and understanding of the unit. But then we also have additional questions, which are really about going a bit deeper, which is in line with the curriculum and the objectives of the curriculum. So getting students to think, research and communicate. And of course, you'll notice that sometimes they can download additional resources that help them in that research. As you're working through the resource, you'll notice that there's little downloadable elements, so different activities, additional resources, literacy lessons, so all types of different features that are very easy to identify throughout the text and are easily downloadable. And when you download them, you can also modify them. So very, very easy to use and helpful with all the additional content available. This is one of my favourite elements of the resource, and it's the interactive case study or site visit in each one of the chapters. So there's an opportunity for students to really delve deeper. So for example, in the first chapter, there's an opportunity for students to do the activity either in person, so if the school wishes to organise an excursion, or you can do it as an online activity if leaving the school premises is difficult. So lots of different opportunities for students to go a little bit deeper, and we've provided those for you. Throughout the resource, you'll see lots of relevant case studies. For example, we've got the Guzman Y. Gomez case study in the investing chapter, so students get to learn about real life businesses and how they operate. We also have some Indigenous case studies throughout, so all of the case studies that we've provided are of interest to young people. They give them lots of different lessons without feeling like it's onerous in any way. So they use storytelling in a lot of them so that students get a real understanding of how it looks like in real life, with a mixture of real and hypothetical examples throughout. One of the really great features of this resource is the links to research provided in many of the lessons. So it allows teachers and students to really go deeper, and that's really in alignment with the curriculum reform, where if there's elements that are of more use or important to different schools, they can actually go further and really capture that depth of learning. And we've provided all those links, so it's nice and easy to do and flows really well for the student and also for the teacher in terms of planning, taking away that load of having to think about how you're going to do that. Each chapter has a skills focused lesson, which is really in alignment with the learning area. So for example, in the first chapter, we've got a lesson where they do a lot of numeracy work around pay slips and understanding pay slips, which is a really important financial literacy skill that they need to have before they leave. And then they get to practice a lot of those mathematical elements that are so important and really in alignment with what they're learning in a maths class. So really a great consolidation of learning of the really technical aspects in each one of the chapters. We've really thought about going beyond just providing learning that's in a textbook. We know, for example, that in the classroom, quite often we, as teachers, will pair different learning providers with what we're doing. So an example of this is we know that when we teach the investing unit in schools, quite often we do it alongside the ASX school share market game. And what we've done is we've worked with them to develop, a project that works well with what they provide, so alongside, and so that students are really able to quite seamlessly be able to learn, without having to stress about jumping between the different programs that are available. So you'll notice that throughout several of the chapters, we've really made an effort to pair with different learning providers because we know how it works in the classroom. Of course, another key feature is the downloadable chapter summaries. So at the end of the chapter, students have the ability to download the summaries. There's scaffolded summary notes, there's visible thinking routines, so really great for revision before that end of topic test or, whatever type of summative assessment that's coming their way. And then, of course, we've provided chapter review questions so that they can actually work through and check their own understanding. At the end of each chapter, you'll notice that there's a writing focus section with a scaffolded model answer for a question that they might see relevant to the learning that they've covered in that unit. So really helpful for students to see how they should actually structure their responses, and a really great resource for teachers as well, especially teachers that are teaching out of topic area and might not feel that they're confident to be able to do that easily. We've done all the work for you, so all you need to do is basically direct students to be able to work through it, and of course the teacher is able to see what it looks like for that unit. Another wonderful feature of this resource is the innovative digital resources as part of the lesson reviews. So you'll notice there's the auto-marked quizzes that are very good for recapping all the content that you've covered in that unit. There's workspaces so students can answer the knowledge and understanding questions directly into the interactive textbook, and then teachers can actually see those responses. And then, of course, we've provided the suggested responses and the rubrics that are relevant to that learning. Really fun aspect of this resource is the Scorcher competition. So essentially it's a timed activity where students can jump on. You can compete as a class or with other schools or across the state to be able to respond to questions as quickly as possible. So it adds a real element of fun to the classroom when you're revising the content. One of the most exciting features of this resource, and one that distinguishes us from other providers, is the PBL approach that can be integrated into each one of the units very easily if you choose to as a school. Of course, as part of our work with the curriculum reform as authors, quite often what works really well is for students to be able to create a project or do a project alongside the learning. So having both explicit learning aspects, but also where they produce something. So even if you've never taught PBL before and you're not trained in it, commerce really lends itself very well to it. And we've done all the work for you. All you need to do is basically use the PBL programming aspects and insert them into your regular program and run it from there. I'll show you what that looks like in a sec. So we've done all the work for you. All you need to do is copy and paste each one of the rows and place it into the programs we've provided. And even if you're unsure about what to do, it really explicitly tells you what needs to happen. You can share that with your class, and it provides all the different links. For example, it ties into the Project Zero materials, which we know that a lot of schools are using within New South Wales, and you can run a PBL project so easily, just following through, and a really great learning tool for both students but also teachers who really want to upskill themselves and be able to understand how to run PBL projects at their school. And of course, we've provided all the additional modifiable PBL elements that are needed. For example, a student contract, because quite often they'll complete the activity as a team. And of course, we want to outline their responsibilities and make sure it's a success. But we also have reflections that are provided, very modifiable, very easy to load onto whatever learning platform that you use. And so you don't actually need to do any additional work to be able to run a PBL project at your school. And this is an example of the reflection sheet. It also has an element that allows a student to self-reflect and score themselves, which is really, really valuable. Of course, if it's too long or you want to add additional questions, you can delete and add very, very easily as a teacher. And of course, load it to your learning platform if that's what you'd like to do. I hope you've enjoyed learning about our resource. I'll I'll pass you over to Amber Ma, who'll go through in greater depth the literacy aspects that we've embedded throughout the resource. And we look forward to your questions shortly.
Hi everyone, my name is Amber Ma and I'm here to talk about the explicit teaching of writing through high impact writing progressions in the new Cambridge Commerce Transform series. Writing is one of the most important skills students develop during their schooling. It's the primary way students engage with, process and communicate their learning. And in commerce, where students are expected to analyse real-world issues, form arguments and evaluate evidence, the ability to write effectively is essential. When students struggle with writing, they often struggle to demonstrate what they know. The Cambridge Commerce Transform series addresses this directly through a structured, holistic writing program that builds progressively from stage 4 through to stage 5. Unlike history and geography, commerce is not always taught as a dedicated subject across both stage 4 and stage 5. In many schools, students may only encounter commerce for 1 or 2 years, meaning teachers cannot rely on students having received the foundational writing instruction from a prior year's textbook. By embedding stage 4 strategies in chapter 1 and stage 5 strategies across the remaining chapters, the textbook functions as a complete self-contained writing program. Every student, regardless of prior experience, begins with the foundational skills before progressing to more sophisticated writing tasks. In stage 4, embedded in chapter 1, students develop foundational writing skills through a carefully sequenced set of high-impact strategies. These include responding to question words, working with coordinating conjunctions using the Fanboys framework, and then moving into subordinating conjunctions, exploring contrast and reason why. From there, students build more sophisticated sentences by using appositives, developing topic sentences, and practicing note-making for sentence creation. In stage 5, presented across the remaining chapters, students build on these foundations with greater sophistication. They work with transitional phrases, focusing on cause, consequence, contrast, and elaboration, before moving into developing complex sentences, creating topic sentences, and integrating evidence to construct well-supported arguments. The high-impact writing activities and their variations stay the same. The only thing that changes is the nature and complexity of the text the activity is based off. Essentially, teachers receive a holistic writing program that they can replicate over and over again in their classrooms, chapter after chapter, using the rich commerce content provided in the textbook. The Cambridge Commerce Transform series provides a clear and explicit method, a common language, and a consistent framework for writing instruction, one that supports teachers and students to develop the confidence, capabilities, and writing skills required for senior secondary success. I would now like to showcase an example of one of our high-impact writing strategies. Firstly, you'll notice the handwriting icon on the page. The icon draws the student's attention to the text where the activity will begin and also the type of writing focus activity they will be completing. For example, this writing focus activity in section 1.4 is a developing sentences using question words activity. One of the high-impact writing strategies embedded in the Cambridge Commerce Transform series is developing sentences using question words. Before students can write effectively about commerce content, they need to be able to identify and articulate the key information from a text. Question words give students a structured entry point to develop their writing through a clear scaffold. In this activity, students are provided with a rich piece of commerce text and a set of question word prompts: who, what, when, where, why, and how. Students use these sentence kernels to construct individual sentences directly from the text. The question words act as a scaffold, breaking the writing task into manageable steps and directing students to the most important information. Critically, this activity uses a clear and explicit method, a common language, and a consistent framework that students will encounter again and again across every chapter of the textbook. What makes this activity so effective is that student responses will vary. There is no single correct answer. Instead, students are drawing on the same text and the same question word prompts to construct their own sentences, building both their content knowledge and their writing skills simultaneously. Each high-impact writing strategy is carefully sequenced to develop student confidence and skills in preparation for the end of chapter writing focus activity. The provision of a paragraph model gives students a scaffold for their own writing. Each sentence is colour-coded and labelled. Topic sentence, explanation, example, evidence, elaboration, and linking sentence. The model response explicitly demonstrates the function of each element of a paragraph. The model illustrates what success looks like, so students can create their own structured response by applying the writing skills practiced throughout the chapter. Together, these high-impact writing strategies form a single, consistent framework, one that equips students with the skills, confidence, and language to succeed in commerce and beyond.
Thanks to Rosette and Amber for your great presentations there. I am now going to give you a quick overview of some of the digital components that we offer for students and for teachers when using the new Commerce Transformed. So when you are using the interactive, first of all, you can see that you do have access to the full content of the textbook. You can toggle between different chapters and sections, and this will reflect what is in the print book for you. You have access to quizzes. So these are drag and drops, multiple choice, short answer questions that students can attempt as many times as they like. It is all auto-marked, and you can actually assign this specifically as a teacher if you'd like them to complete it for homework. If there are questions that require a little bit more of an extended response, students can access this part of the platform, submit their answers, send it through to you as a teacher, and then you can give them feedback and send back to them. You can have answers on or off at the bottom there as well. You have links to everything that's downloadable. So you can find everything here in the resources, plus over here on the right, you have a shortcut link for everything there also. When there are videos that are required for certain parts of the text, you'll find those embedded within the content, like you can see here. And again, you have shortcuts here on the right as well. In the chapter review, we have a few extra features. So we have our summary notes all listed here. We have our review questions that students can access through the platform. All your writing focus material will sit here as it is in the print book with the model answer and then different questions at the bottom there. If you go to the right again, you can download anything here also. The Scorcher is a 10 quick question exercise for students to complete. So this again is an auto-marked feature. There is a timer on and there is a leaderboard. So students go through and answer their questions. They get their results and then a leaderboard will generate here for them. So a lot of fun and a little bit of a competition for them to complete. The Task Manager is a tool for teachers to basically build a homework activity, or it could actually be a lesson in itself. So when we set up a task, we're then prompted to drag and drop whatever we'd like the students to visit in any instance. So we could say the first task here would be reading the content of the textbook. The second may be a worksheet to complete. So we'll put in a writing focus worksheet there. Then we could say something like a scorcher that is auto-marked, or a quiz, for instance, we could put that in. Now, because it is auto-marked, you do have the option of setting a benchmark here. So great to build different pathways for different students. So in this instance, we've put a 65% benchmark. Anyone over that 65%, we could assign them something a little more challenging. So say the knowledge and understanding questions could go in there. Anyone under that benchmark, we could perhaps give them something that would help with revision. So let's put in a video. So this will guide the student to exactly what you've set out for them, depending on their results. All your teacher resources sit here. So this will contain all your chapter tests, all your teaching programs, everything that you need in here. This will also have your PowerPoints for every chapter of the book. So this is your hub as a teacher to access everything here. We have it set up so that you have your classes here. Your students sit within the classes, and that way you can assign work and generate reports. We are more than happy to help you set this up as well. So I hope that's been useful for you, but the sales team are more than happy to come out to the school as well and give you a more in-depth demonstration of this. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Caroline. That was a fantastic demonstration, and it was amazing to see those presentations from Rosette and Amber. And so now we do have Rosette and Amber here to take your questions. So if you haven't popped that in the chat yet, please, any questions that that you want the authors to respond to. We do have a couple of questions already regarding the PBL. So Praveen has asked about how many programs are included in the package and for which topics, which the short answer, Praveen, is there are teaching programs for every topic, all the core plus all the options, but Rosette has done PBL programs for all of the topics as well. And so Rosette, I might just throw that to you. And a further question about from a teacher who's new to PBL and wondering, is this something that they can easily use in their classroom?
Oh, thank you, Paula. Oh, absolutely. We've tried to make it as simple as possible for even teachers who haven't used PBL in the classroom before to be able to pick it up and integrate it into their regular program. So to use both the resource plus the additional program elements that we've given them with the PBL seamlessly together. So it does provide prompts. If we do have a teacher that's more experienced, they might want to change things around, and that's fine. We have provided some information about PBL generally, and they'll be able to use that as a guide, and that's provided for them with every single one of the programs that they can download. So absolutely, we want all teachers to be able to teach in a way that is contextualized to their students and engaging and interesting and relevant to how you actually learn in the real world.
Fantastic. Thanks, Rosette. And I have a question here from Jody. It's a two-part question for you, Amber, on the literacy resources. So Jody's asked, if students have used the other stage 4 resources like the history and geography, and then they pick up commerce, obviously in stage 5, will the writing strategies be a repeat for the first half of the course, or she's asking, her second part of the question is if a school chooses topics in different order, is that going to work well with the literacy program that you developed?
Oh, yeah, totally. So with the stage 4 in chapter 1, it's very similar to stage 4 in geo and history, the geography and history one. There's minimal changes. I think history has perspective and source analysis. I've taken that out and we use integrating evidence in stage 5. So there is similarities across those. Yeah, so it's not unfamiliar territory. It is very similar across both those from stage 4 into stage 5. So they mirror with a couple of tweaks across those stages. Yep.
Terrific. And a further question has come in. How do you ensure this doesn't become repetitive, particularly for those students who are moving quickly through the content? How do they keep them engaged over the multiple years?
Okay, so this is a real interesting way to approach writing, is what the program is doing. So our new curriculum is asking us to embed writing through the curriculum, embedding explicit writing, teaching of writing through the curriculum, instead of having it as an add-on, as an additional skill that we teach. So you've got to teach them at the same time. So what we're trying to do is not be, fancy and do fancy things, but what we want to do is reduce cognitive load, and we want to teach the kids the skills so they're not relearning different skills all the time. They are reducing that cognitive load, they're consolidating the skills that they're using so they can then really focus on the content rather than learning new skills all the time. So the boredom doesn't really come into it because the kids are achieving success at every level. And we see children move through, it's a real value add program. So they're moving through and achieving success as they go. So the boredom doesn't really come into it. We're moving through, removing barriers, removing cognitive load, which then makes students be able to achieve success better. So it's fantastic.
Great. Thanks, Amber. Yeah, we're really excited about the the literacy program. Rosette, just one final question. There are a few questions, but we are running out of time. Around teachers who are teaching out of field, how does the resource build the teacher confidence as well as the student capability? And where do you see out of field teachers needing the most support?
That's a really good question, Paula. So we did think about the teachers that are teaching out of field. Obviously, commerce is one of those subjects where quite often you'll have a teacher that's not specifically trained in business studies, legal studies, or economics teaching the subject. And what we've tried to do is make it as comprehensive as possible. So you'll notice the depth of content that's in it. It's very easy to follow. I think a lot of teachers will actually learn a lot about financial literacy, business literacy, legal literacy, economic literacy as they teach. So we've tried to make it as comprehensive as possible. Teachers can, of course, use what they will based on, their ability to meet the outcomes. And we understand that, but we've tried to give above and beyond, especially because we do know that there are so many teachers teaching out of field. So, and each one of our authors, we obviously within commerce, we have our specialty areas, and we've really focused our author team around those specialty areas. So you'll actually get a really good resource that allows you to teach it to the depth that's required, even if you're uncertain about it. And the fact that you can download so many additional resources, like you don't need to worry about anything. It's all done for you. So I think a lot of teachers will really enjoy it. I think a lot of teachers who have never taught commerce will realise, wow, what a great subject, because you can quite easily, find what you need to be able to deliver it in a way that's interesting and quite complete, really.
Thanks. Amazing. Thank you. Yeah, we are super excited. And yes, you guys have all done so much work. And now over to Caroline for the availability and pricing.
Thank you. And a big thank you to everyone who was involved in today's webinar. That was great. So just before we finish, I'd like to share a little bit more information about Commerce Transformed. So first of all, there's a few different purchasing options. Of course, we have a print textbook that you can purchase, and this includes access to the interactive textbook. There is an option for digital only. If you don't use print books in the school, you can use it purely online as well as using the PDF. The online teaching suite is a complementary resource. This is offered to schools who are implementing the student resources. And essentially we would set the teachers up. We can also offer to set up the classes as well and help onboard you. And then we also offer some PD sessions if you wanted to have a look at the platform a little bit more in detail as well. So the next slide lists what we have available now for you. So the published textbooks are available in Term 3, but we do have a lot to share with you now so that you can explore a little bit further. So we have planning documents, we have sample pages, so full sample pages that we can send to you or bring to you, some sample worksheets, so those writing focus worksheets and things, you can have a really good look at those. And you can also jump online and access the platform as well to have a better look at that. So we will get in touch with you and we'll offer to come out and meet with you and the team, and we can run through all this with you. The next slide, you'll see details of the sales team. So feel free to reach out, but we will follow up with you after today's session and send all the information and all the samples that we can. But yes, I really hope you enjoyed today's webinar. Thank you for joining, and we will be in touch soon. Have a great night.